Let's run through the markets in West Africa, starting with the BRVM. The BRVM 10 index closed Friday about 1.9% higher at 213 points. Meanwhile, the all-share index, which is the BRVM composite, gained 1.5%, closing at 193 points. Total value traded on the market on the day was 660 million CFA francs. The currency currently trading at 504.6 to the US dollar. That's down 1% for the year. And moving on to Ghana, the JSE Composite Index closed trading on Friday at 1,830 points. That's up marginally about 0.1%, keeping its year-to-date change at about 52.6%. On the other hand, the JSE Financial Stock Index closed about 0.4% higher at 1,604 points. For the year, that index is up 54%. And the Ghana CD currently trading at 1.98 to the US dollar, so it's down about 4% for the year. Moving on to Nigeria, we did see the all-share index up about 0.6%. A very interesting season we're having Nigeria, and of course we'll be talking about that in a little bit. The index closed at 36,000 points. Leading the gainers was Total, Flour Mills, Nestle, Cadbury, and Nigerian breweries. Let's now speak to Muktar Mohammed, an analyst with ASA Investments, to give us his thoughts on the market and what to expect this week. Muktar, thank you so much for joining us. I think that the big takeaway from last week has to be UBA's result. They're back in the black, and I think they've announced that they are still here. We got a sense that they were. We had the other three top-tier banks leaving them behind, but with the 54 billion naira profit after tax, you get a sense that they are back. Your thoughts about the numbers? The market obviously liking the stock. It's up about 8% for the day.
Definitely a good result. Definitely good. It really excited the market on them.
Is it a bit of a relief though? Because one was thinking UBA was really in this muddy water and it was struggling to get out.
I don't think so. If you really follow their quarterly result, it has been very impressive. So if you really were following the result, it was investors' stock. But you know, apathy grew when the result didn't come as expected.
Right.
The time expected for the result to be released.
And if you look at history, they've had a history of surprising negatively sometimes in the fourth quarter with impairments and so on.
But going forward with what the MD of the bank have said before, you realize that they had something in the offering that most investors, 50 kobo didn't come as a surprise to investors. Everybody expected it 50 kobo. But I think what is surprising investors is the result, the bottom lines of the result, the profit after tax of the result. That really showed that UBA is out. The earning per share is 1.66 kobo, which are among the best in the banking sector. So when you look at it going forward, you realize that UBA is out of the wood. UBA is gradually taking its place as one of the topmost banks in Nigeria. Then telling investors again that this coming financial year, half of their earnings will come from their foreign subsidiary. And you know, if half of it is coming from the foreign subsidiary, then the Nigerian subsidiary too is also doing good.
Right.
So when you look at the holding companies that were moved out of UBA, you're right, UBA is just good to go. It wasn't a surprise to investors that it got 50 kobo. But it was surprised that the results were very fantastic in every area.
If you run through the results over the last few weeks, you've had quite a few positive surprises, if you like. I mean, I still think UBA was a positive surprise, given the fact that the result was delayed for so long. And then, of course, we had the likes of UAC reports, very impressive numbers.
Yes.
Dangote Sugar as well. So the last 2 weeks have been pretty good. We've seen a lot of companies beat expectations. Your thoughts about what this would mean for the market going forward?
Beautiful for the market going forward, but what we keep saying is that are we sure they will be able to substantiate it, to keep improving on it as the quarter go and the year go. I think the problem with the market will not definitely be this year. Mostly in the area of the banking sector. We expect the banks to keep making money this year. But what we will expect that next year, we want to see how the banks are going to make money, because then there's a lot of revolutionary by CBN, COT, all that, ATM, all these changes. So how, yes, and so potential. So how will the bank be able to respond? Some of them will respond by giving more loans to maybe small and medium scale investors, and then
which could be more risky.
So, and we know that the Nigerian bank has not been, there have been risk adverse. They don't want to take so much risks any longer.
Well, now that yields have come down in the fixed income market, perhaps there is more of an incentive to do that. But of course, on the macro side, this week we're looking forward to the April inflation numbers, and the macro is something that a lot of people are keeping a very close eye on, particularly the exchange rate. Your thoughts about what we're likely to see this week?
Do we expect any change? I don't think so. We don't expect so much change. And then CBN is trying to be very, very careful, knowing fully well that we are in Nigerian election doesn't start in 2015. The election starts from 2013 to 2014. So CBN is trying to make sure they manage the inflation rate, the spending on inflation. So we don't expect the inflation to go above what we say. We're even expecting inflation to go a little bit down, because last time they told us it was 8 point something. People still believe it may come down. But CBN now has to really come up. Will they still leave the interest rate at what it has been for a very long time, or will they reduce the interest rate? There's no how that CBN will have to hike the interest rate. But we want to see whether they'll bring down the interest rate. That's the only thing I think we're expecting.
As we end the interview, your thoughts on stocks to pick right now? Of course, we have quite a few interesting results to think about now. Is this changing your stock picks? I mean, for instance, is Dangote Sugar a big interest to you right now, or is it UBA? Or
I think my big interests are just I think I will look at three stocks. I will look at UBA. I will still look at UAC, and then I will look at National Sword, that is NASCOM. So those are the three stocks I think I'm looking at this period. I expect UBA to come out with their first quarter result any moment from now. And if the first quarter result meet investors' expectation, then we're in for a very big time with UBA.
Well,